Hey everybody, welcome back to Keegan Knox. Well, welcome back to the YouTube channel. But the real KMJH. Today, we all know what happened to Charlie Kirk earlier this week. It's very sad what happened. Condolences to his family, and it's also just a good thing that he was also a Christian and saved by God, because I'm sure he is definitely in a better place. But the reason for this video is because of what Asmongold has been saying. One of his title videos, which he released early in this week, was these people are effing evil, and I just want to go over the people, and not to mention his actions towards these people, or what he deems should be done towards these people because of what they've done. And basically, okay, I'm not going to mention the conclusion of my entire thought process for this, but let's just watch this video, and I will comment on certain things, and we'll go through certain snippets of his video. Okay, it won't be a long vid, I hope, but let's just watch what he says.
Hi guys, it's me again, and today we're going to look at some of the interesting users on, you would never believe it, Blue Sky. That's right. And I don't know how this keeps happening, but yesterday, after Charlie Kirk was brutally murdered, he was shot in the throat, bled out on stage in front of everybody, including his own family and his children. The number of people in the games industry who decided to go on to social media, particularly Blue Sky. A lot of these people, you have to understand that many of these people have already been run off of Twitter because there's a level of discourse and negativity that they can't really deal with. So the only place that they can really exist is on effectively a reservation like Blue Sky, where their opinions are protected and they're allowed to be vitriolic and nobody's allowed to tell them that they're wrong. Well, that's why we're making this video. We're going to be looking at some of the different people that, after the death of Charlie Kirk, decided to, and I'm not really going to be going through, everybody is going to draw the line at a different place. Here's where I draw the line. I personally have a big problem with people that are celebrating him being killed. I don't have a big deal if somebody says I don't like him or I never liked him or something like that. But for the people that are celebrating for him being killed, advocating for future violence, and saying that it's a good thing, I think that's what crosses the line for me. And I think that's what crosses the line for any reasonable, normal person. And so anyway, we're going to go through a number of people. And the first thing I wanted to start out with today is that maybe you guys remember this from the beginning of the year. It was a big content year, I would say that. And people might have forgotten, but there is a person who decided to advocate for killing your local MAGA. This was a Blizzard employee. And I want to say that after the video that I made on him and a lot of other people made on him, this person lost their job and effectively has ruined their life. And I want nothing more than for the exact same thing to happen to the people in this video too. So I hope that after you guys see these individuals and you see what they're advocating for, you'll be able to go out and tell their employer, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm not comfortable funding a video game that is employing people that are advocating for the brutal murder of a person in front of their family. And it's absolutely insane, but it's also not surprising. And so anyway, we're going to go through some of these. Obviously, I put out a post about this before. This was yesterday. If you guys want to make a list, and this is something, I'll go ahead and just contextualize it all. So there's several game developers that are liking posts that are people mocking Charlie Kirk's assassination. We'll look at pretty much who these people are. We'll start off with this. These are people, Dennis. Let's look at this. And this.
Okay, so now I don't really want to go into the people. We can understand that these people have said bad things about Charlie Kirk, okay? But there are things that even Asmongold has said about these people which are just as bad. And I think two wrongs don't make a right, okay? So let's just see if we can get... I didn't actually go through to see if we could find a part of the video, but there is a certain part, maybe we'll just see two parts, but let's just see if we could find his comments on what he believes must be done with these people. Okay, this seems to be the one where he's just talking, so let's just catch that.
This is just simply not acceptable. This is not normal. This is not what average people want. We don't want to have people that are openly making statements and calls to violence like this, or celebrating calls to violence or actual violence like this, making our products. It's disgusting. And I know that some people would maybe consider and say, well, this is something that could be a little bit like cancel culture. And I want to say that it absolutely is. 100% is. The fact is that these are the same types of people who would lie about you and make up things about you and try to destroy your career and destroy your reputation for disagreeing with them on something political. But now, whenever it's happening to them, they're the victims. Well, if you want to be the victim, it's time to earn it. I think also, here's another thing, is that if you work at one of these companies and you have one of these individuals that works at your company, you do have a recourse to this, and that's calling and talking to HR. Because the fact is that HR does not operate in your best interest, and it doesn't operate in their best interest either. It operates in the best interest of the company. And when you have people that are making public statements and calls to violence and celebrating violence like that, they're creating a hostile and an unsafe work environment. And anybody who works in HR or anybody who works inside of any sort of corporate environment will tell you that that's something that just can't exist in a corporate environment. There's a reason why we have levels of decorum, and there are some levels of HR that make sense. And so if you work at one of these companies and you have a person like this doing it, make sure to talk to HR and let them know how uncomfortable you feel that there's a person who's working at your company who might want to advocate to have you killed because you disagree with them. Tell them that it.
Now that's the part which, I mean, come on, is kind of stupid. You asking your viewers, right, or anybody that feels that their colleague will harm them because of their political views, even though in the same workplace today we are sitting with people who have different political views and who have different religious views in any case. So you going to HR and saying, I feel uncomfortable, you just sound like a Karen. Even if the person puts on Twitter, you know, or on any other platform, I disagree with people like this. I would even do this to them. I mean, that is on Twitter or on a social media platform. Yes, it's public, right? But it is also part of that person's privacy, and I don't think the work has anything to do with that. Especially considering, let's say on their profiles, which is on these social media platforms, there's no information about the company that they work at. So there's no detriment to the company because nobody's really going to know that these people work for that specific company. Now, I do understand that the Asmongold is talking about people that belong to a specific games development company, right? So how that information got out would be on these people's fault. Okay, maybe Blue Sky asks what company you're working for, and I think it's just inappropriate for you to be using a certain label, say, oh, where do you work, because that is personal information, and I don't think you really need to have that on your site, which exposes the people about where they work, because these kind of things can happen. You would have people advocating for somebody who works in the same company to go to HR and report the person for their political views and how they want to react according to the political views. That's not the only thing about what I disagree with Asmongold is saying, okay? This part that I mentioned is the same which is going to be in the next section that I'm going to mention. Asmongold, who makes money from YouTube and other certain platforms and other ventures, is advocating that people lose their jobs because of how serious they take their political views, even if it might become violent. Okay, but that would be on that person. If they make the decision to be violent, they will then pay the repercussions. But just because they are speaking out, just because just because they have the right of freedom of speech and have said these things, now it's all like, no, you need to lose your job because you think this way. But that, like I said, that is not the only point. Let's just carry on and listen to what more that Asmongold has to say.
makes you afraid to come into work, tell them that, you don't know, maybe you're going to file a lawsuit, you feel unsafe at your workplace. And honestly, here's the important thing: you should feel unsafe, because these people would justify violence against anybody who disagrees with them. And just because you think you know them doesn't mean they wouldn't do the exact same thing to you. And this is them. This is the game that they're making right here. And you can see that they've made no statement about this. Now, let me ask you a very
I just want to find that
Awaken to a world of wonder.
like I was saying, I just want to find that section where Asmongold was advocating for more things to happen to these kinds of people. Where's my mouse? I don't think it's you. He talks long, guys. Actually, he's talking forever. I think it is here somewhere.
try to use your own language and use your own morality against you. These people don't care about. So never listen to this. Attention impact. This I hope they live by some
Yeah.
perspective
Oh man, this guy just talks.
with them. And that's why whenever somebody does do something insane like this, all of these people try to do mental gymnastics about why it was somehow justified, normalized, okay, acceptable, or something one way or another. The fact is that no, live by the debate, die by a gunshot wound in the throat. No, I don't really think that makes a lot of sense, does it? But it doesn't.
I agree. The fact that Charlie Kirk was debating doesn't mean that his life needs to end that way. It's horrible. And that 22-year-old that did the deed, obviously he's going to face harsh penalties for the crime he's committed. And he's still a young guy. His views on politics was obviously not mature enough, I would say. And at the same time, I also believe that this should actually show that you shouldn't really go out there. I mean, if he wasn't at the university, fantastic. But it should have been in a hall somewhere, where there would have been more security, especially when you can understand that political views, especially in America, is taken very, very seriously. And we all know, or the whole world knows, okay, and in America it should also be known, just how serious the individuals in the area where you can sell a gun to anybody. You should know that some people might take this type of action. And I think that was, I don't want to admit that it was Charlie Kirk's fault, but those who organized everything, they should have taken more precautions. They should have also understood that even though this is kind of like a debate, at the same time, there are people that could have a more harsh or more, what's the word now, aggressive view on their political stand, and they should have put more security. It should have been done in a place where not everybody would have just been able to come around. It should have been done in a hall. Should have been done in a safer environment. And I think people, there should have been more security and more distance from the people who were having the particular debate, because it could have been Charlie Kirk, or it could have been the person who was debating with him. That's the other debating against him. It could have been, yeah, I think anybody could have been the target. It all just depended on the view of the shooter, and sadly, he was a shooter, and they didn't have to be. But let's go back into what Asmongold says.
Sound as good as these, vapid, like Yas Queen comments that people like her make on Blue Sky that have absolutely no pushback because they're on their own protected reservation away from anybody whose opinions could be different than their own. And that's the reason. And also, those are the only people that are still left on the platform. And soon, if with enough effort and enough work, we can have enough of these people removed from our media, and removed from our public discourse, and removed from any sort of positions of power where they can exercise their completely maladjusted, totally deranged viewpoints and worldview. And so, anyway, I want to let you know that this is definitely not the only amount of them that there are. I'm sure there's plenty more. And so, if you want to express and show any of these other people, and you want to post one of their comments or anything like that, I would recommend anybody to go on over to Roach Ranch. This is a comment right here. Sorry, not comment. Community right here that I made on Twitter. I do not really moderate this at all, and if you guys want to post the different public, these people have been doing it to people like me for the better part of 5 years, and it's really, really crazy stuff. Reasons. So anyway, guys, community is the best and most, and there's another one here. This is for them to fulfill their own goals. And so every time that they try to make an appeal,
I'm literally still looking for that part that I want to talk about.
To your own values, you should ask yourself, do they hold these values? And if the answer is no, then care about freedom of speech. Game devs mock neck like that with their blood. That's the only logical reason that I have this negative effect. Ever do that. Keep this pressure up until these people lose. Comments on this. Your senior dev at Sucker Punch is a violent leftist, etc.
I think it's
and
this one.
These are more comments here. Never let up the pressure. Never ever do that. Keep this pressure up until these people lose their jobs, and then after they lose their jobs, then take a break, relax, pat yourself on the back, wait for them to get another one, and then do it again. And that's the only way that you should treat these animals. And that's exactly what they are. You shouldn't view them as people. You shouldn't view them as a person with a political disagreement from you. These are violent animals that are trying to destroy the last good thing that we have, which is the open ideas of political discourse. And they're celebrating murdering people for doing it. And as soon as that starts happening, I don't want to know what's next. And the
Now, you see, that's the part that I do not agree with. You shouldn't be treating these people as animals. Thus, you are an animal too, because you have taken their actions that they have done. Okay, like these are people. These are people with political views just like you. Okay, and you should treat people the way you want to be treated. But that doesn't mean the way this person has treated you. Now you must treat them the same way. It doesn't mean that. Okay. Let's show people love. Let's show not more humanity, but more sane thinking, okay, and a sane thought process. And the whole process about getting these people fired from their job, pat yourself on the back because you did a good job, and then wait until they get another job and then get them fired from that, makes you no different. You will then be impacting on the people's livelihood and even the kids. Would you want that? Asmongold, I'm asking you specifically as well. Would you want that for yourself? No. So why do that to other people? Because you are letting your emotions and your anger get the best of you, and that has revealed a certain characteristic of you that is not a good person to have. That is not a characteristic for a good person to have, and it definitely is not a good look on you, and especially your brand, Asmongold. But not just Asmongold, to every other viewer out there, okay? You need to think about these things. You need to be sane when you think about these things. Don't let your sane for the lack of a better word, sorry, okay? You don't have to let your emotions and your anger get the best of you, because that's going to give a different answer that you were expecting that you would be giving, okay? And that's going to get a different reaction from the other side that you are giving the answer to. That's the whole thing. I disagree with what Asmongold is saying. Yes, these people are saying bad things. They're saying rude things, especially about Charlie Kirk, in the face of the fact that he's passed away and how he passed away. And I think that they should be removed from the platform, because for the platform's own brand, this is not what we advocate. We understand you have free speech, but this is uncalled for. Okay? There's a certain level to free speech where this would be considered cyberbullying a man who has already passed away. Showing that you are happy that somebody has passed away and the way they've passed away because of their political views. Yes, that's horrible. They should be removed and banned from the platform. But to dox them and get them rid from their jobs, no, because you wouldn't like that too. Okay? Because you just being the person that says we should dox them and we should get them rid from their job makes you another bad person. should the same thing happen to you. Well, guys, that's my view on this whole thing. I don't agree with anything that Asmongold is saying. I've always had respect for Asmongold as a creator, and especially somebody who has had a political view in his country. But a lot of the things that he says, I just, I've come to the point where I just can't agree. I've been listening and listening, and I see where the flaws are now. And he is a very, very smart guy, but at the same time, there's not much wisdom there as well. I do apologize for saying that, but it's true. So yeah, that's my take on the whole thing. Once again, my condolences to Charlie Cook's family, and at the same time, I pray that Asmongold, through this time that he's having, especially with his father, that he gets through this, and I pray his father, his health gets better and better, and that we get an Asmongold that comes back with, who's more joyful, because he's going through a tough time right now, and it is very emotional at the same time. So let's just show people that we are thinking about them, and that we also care, and we pray for the best. But yeah, guys, that's all from me. Take care.